Hey everybody, so I just finished up The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. A lot of stuff I was thinking about talking about, and I thought, no, I don't want to give anything away, but then I realized a lot of the stuff I was going to hem and haw around was actually in the description of the book, so not super secret after all. So I'm going to actually just start off with what the synopsis said on the book itself. This is what you see when you go to buy it, because I think it kind of fills in a lot of the stuff in a better manner than I would. So basically, a young woman descends into a seductive magical underworld of power-hungry scholars, fickle gods, and monsters bent on revenge to break her family's curse in this spellbinding contemporary fantasy debut. So first and foremost, love the book. It's really good. A lot of people like to do the whole like 5-star review type stuff. However, I have an issue with that because that means something different to everybody. Some people think if you don't give it 5 stars, you didn't like the book. Other people, like me, I think 5 stars are reserved for, the cream of the crop. Count of Monte Cristo would be a 5-star for me. Swan Song by Robert McCammon would be a 5-star for me. So I'm going to go a little bit different. I would consider those highly recommended. Those are the books that I would, not see any reason why anybody wouldn't want to read, even if they wouldn't. But this would be like the next tier below that. I would consider this book recommended. I think you will like this book. I had very few issues with the book, and I will go over those in a second. Mainly one, really. So the book basically follows around the main character, Violet, although there are other characters who get followed around. It's not all just from her point of view. You do get to see the ins and outs and interactions with some of the other characters as well. But basically, anybody in the book is going to cross paths with Violet at some point. The gist of it is Violet belongs to a family. She's living with one of her uncles. She has another uncle that's a little bit more globetrotting, but comes back every once in a while. And she has an absent mother. Her mother left when she was young. Basically, the family is under curse. Every generation, they owe a tithe. It's not really a 10%, but whoever amongst the current generation of the Everly clan has to go with this lady named Penelope. Penelope never gets any older. She's the most powerful person on the planet. By the way, this is set in the real world. There is, there's a little extra dimensional stuff here and there. There's another place that exists outside of the Earth, but for the most part, it belongs in the real world. And nobody who's not part of the, they call them the scholars, or the families attached to them, nobody else knows that there's any sort of magical stuff going on. The rest of the world is pretty mundane. Violet's mom, her name is Marianne, is the strongest of her generation. She's supposed to be sacrificed to Penelope. And first of all, the family had made a decision that they weren't going to have any kids so that the curse would end with their line. Obviously, Marianne has Violet, which has messed that all up. But Marianne decides that she's going to break the curse, and she goes off on an adventure, barely to be heard from again. There's a couple of letters here and there. Penelope finally tracks down the Everleys because they've gone into hiding while Marianne's off on her quest. And she's discovered that Violet exists. They've tried to hide Violet from her so that nobody knows that there's another generation after them. Violet's very young, however, Violet is very strong. So she gives them 10 years. You've got 10 years, either bring Marianne to me or I'll be back for Violet. And then, of course, the rest of it is Violet goes on a quest as she gets old enough, when the time gets close, because Marianne still hasn't showed up. And she goes on her own quest to find her mother, see what she found, or, at least follow her line of research that she was using to find what needed to be done to break the curse. Penelope doesn't consider it a curse. There is a agreement made with somebody way back in the Everly clan that is passed on from generation to generation. He didn't hold up his end of the bargain, so she's holding up the rest of the clan to the bargain because debts are always paid. No, she's not a Lannister. Anyhow, the only issue, the story itself is great. I kind of liked it. I even kind of liked the way it ended. Could there be another book out of it? Yes. However, I'm comfortable with the things that were left unwrapped up because, let's face it, life's not always like that. Nobody knows where Jimmy Hoff is buried. You don't get to know every mystery. But it does have, there's a possibility for another book, but it also, like I said, it also wraps up nicely as a standalone. This is Georgia Summers' debut, by the way. So as a first book, oh my goodness, so good. I would like to see where she's going to go from here. Like I said, the only issue I had with it, and this is just a personal issue, is I didn't really like the magic system. Yes, as I said, Violet's the most powerful, but that means that she can work the best with the, I'm going to say medium for lack of another word for it, because I don't want to give that part away. All their magic has to do through what they can build with this medium that's in, of course, obviously short supply. And so, you know, I'm more of a might and magic type person. You know, I want mana. I want, I want to be able to, people, if there's going to be a magic system, I want to be able to throw, fireballs at people and stuff like that. But their magic's limited to what they can build with this stuff. More of an artificer type magic. So, except that was the only downfall for me. I really liked the overall story. I kind of want to see what happens from here. Yes, but like I said, if she goes on and makes, her next book has nothing to do with City of Stardust, I'm completely fine with that. I think you'll like it. By the way, Kitty Parker did the narration. Perfect voice for this book, I thought. She really, I mean, even her voice lends to the feeling of this book and how it goes. If you don't need to have dragons and fireballs in your fantasy novels, then this one's perfectly fine. If I'm not going to throw them under the bus, I'm going to use them as an example because it's more my type. If you much more like a Margaret Weiss, Tracy Hickman type fantasy novel, then this one may not be 100% for you. So I said that's the only reason I think I'm not putting it in highly recommended. I think, but I have no qualms whatsoever recommending this book to you. Feel free to check it out. This book comes out January 30th. So of course, I'd like to give a shout out to Libro.fm for allowing me to listen to the advanced listening copy early. Totally appreciate that. If you're not familiar with Libro.fm, and no, they don't sponsor me, I like them because the membership, I think, is about the same as Audible. It's like $15 a month. There might be a couple cents difference between them, like maybe one's $14.94, one's $14.99. I don't remember. But like I said, the membership's almost exactly the same. But Libro.fm does allow you to pick a local bookstore that is signed up with them. For instance, here in Omaha, the local bookstore is the Bookworm, and they've signed up with Libro.fm. So if you buy a book or if you pay for the membership through that, they give you a little piece, not a huge piece. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that they give a little piece back to your independent bookstores. It's not going all to Amazon. So that's why I lean towards them. Every once in a while, yes, there's Audible have an exclusive that I really want, and I'll have to go do it, but I stick to Libro whenever I can. Anyhow, like I said, I think you guys will like the book. This is her debut. I'd love to see where Georgia Summer goes from here, but pick it up. I don't think you will be disappointed.